Well, aren't you brave, dear listener? Clearly nothing scares you, right? You wouldn't be here otherwise, would you? Beneath the familiar surface of the internet, cloaked in layers of secrecy and enigma, lies the dark web, a realm shrouded in mystery and teeming with tales that blur the line between the digital and the dreadfully real. This shadowy world, inaccessible to the average browser and hidden from the eyes of the law, harbors secrets so chilling they're whispered about in hushed tones, fueling nightmares and igniting the darkest corners of the imagination. Tonight, we're about to descend into the heart of this digital darkness, embarking on a journey through 3 harrowing tales that emerge from the depths of the dark web. Stories of unseen terrors, digital hauntings, and encounters so unsettling, they remind us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are just a click away. Brace yourself, for we are about to explore the terrifying unknown. 3 horror stories that will leave you questioning what lurks beyond your screen.
Story 1. The Unseen Delivery. I've always been drawn to the unknown, the hidden crevices of the world that most would dare not to explore. My curiosity led me to the deep web, a place shrouded in anonymity and filled with the darkest corners of human existence. I thought I was prepared for what I might find. I was wrong. It started innocuously enough. I was navigating through layers of hidden sites, a digital spelunker in the vast caves of the internet. I stumbled upon a site that seemed like a simple, morbid curiosity, a gallery of lost and forgotten photographs, the ones you might find tucked away in the attic of an abandoned house. But there was something captivating about these images. They whispered secrets of lives once lived, of shadows lurking just out of sight. I was mesmerized. My fascination took a darker turn when I clicked on a seemingly benign JPEG file. The download took an eternity, the progress bar inching forward as if reluctant to reveal its contents. When the image finally opened, I was met with a scene of unspeakable horror. It was a room, stark and sterile, with concrete walls stained in what I could only hope was rust. In the center, a chair, and upon it, a figure, so emaciated, so utterly destroyed, it barely seemed human. But it was the eyes that haunted me, wide and pleading, staring directly into mine as if begging for release. I tried to close the window, but my computer froze. The image locked on my screen. A chill ran down my spine as I realized this was no ordinary photograph. It was a live feed. Panic surged through me. I frantically attempted to disconnect, to escape the gaze of those hollow eyes, but it was futile. Then, a message popped up on my screen, simple and terrifying, in its plain text, "We see you." That was when the lights went out. Plunged into darkness, my heart raced. The silence of my room was deafening, each creak and groan of the house amplifying my fear. I felt watched, hunted, as if the darkness itself had eyes. When the lights flickered back to life, I wished they hadn't. There, etched onto my wall in what looked like blood, were the words, "You shouldn't have looked." I've since abandoned my digital explorations, but the feeling of being watched has never left me. I see shadows move just out of sight, hear whispers in the static of the television. I know now that some doors, once opened, can never be closed. I delved too deeply, and what lurked in the depths has followed me back into the light. They say curiosity killed the cat. In my case, it invited something in, something that lingers at the edge of my vision, waiting. I share this story as a warning. Beware the lure of the unknown. Some truths are buried for a reason, and some horrors, once witnessed, can never be unseen. Story 2. The Last Delery. I've always been skeptical about the dark web stories floating around. To me, they were just urban legends crafted to scare the curious away from the internet's underbelly. That skepticism held strong until I encountered a delivery that was meant for someone else, a delivery from the dark web. It started on a rainy Thursday evening. I was working late, the monotonous hum of my computer, a steady companion. That's when I heard the knock, a series of sharp raps against the door that sliced through the silence. I wasn't expecting anyone, especially not at this ungodly hour. Cautiously, I approached the door and peered through the peephole. There was no one there, just the remnants of a storm and a small, nondescript package lying on the doorstep. Curiosity overpowered my unease, and I opened the door, snatching the package from the wet ground. It was heavier than it looked, with no return address, only my name written in a shaky hand. Something about it felt off, but I couldn't pinpoint what. Inside, I found a hard drive, its black casing cold and uninviting. Against my better judgment, I connected it to my laptop. What I found were hundreds of files, each more disturbing than the last. Images that twisted the stomach, videos that blurred the line between humanity and monstrosity. I stumbled upon a video file named "For Your Eyes Only," and as if pulled by an unseen force, I clicked play. The video was simple, a camera pointed at a chair in a dimly lit room. There was no sound, just the static whisper of silence. Then, the door in the video creaked open and a figure was pushed into the room, landing heavily on the chair. Bound and gagged, their eyes pleaded with the camera, with me, for mercy that I knew wouldn't come. Behind them, another figure emerged from the shadows, face obscured, holding an object that glinted dully in the low light. I tried to close the video, to disconnect the drive, but my computer refused to obey. The screen flickered, and a message appeared. "Enjoying the show?" Followed by, "You're next." Panic set in, a cold, clawing thing that wrapped around my throat. I managed to shut off the laptop, but the damage was done. The feeling of being watched settled over me, a heavy cloak of dread. That night, I didn't sleep. Shadows seemed to move of their own accord, and every noise was a potential threat. The next morning, the hard drive was gone, along with any proof of the night's horrors. But the message was clear. I had seen something I was never meant to see. My skepticism had led me down a path with no return, to a world where the boundary between the digital and the real blurred into obscurity. Now, I live in constant fear, jumping at shadows, flinching at every unexpected knock. The dark web had reached out from the depths, touching my life with icy fingers, leaving a trail of paranoia in its wake. I know they're out there, watching, waiting. For me, the last delivery wasn't a package. It was a warning. Story 3: Echoes in the Digital Abyss. The lure of the unknown has always been my greatest weakness, an insatiable curiosity that inevitably led me down the rabbit hole of the dark web. I thought I understood the risks, believed I could navigate its murky depths unscathed. I was a fool. My descent began innocently enough, with whispered tales of a site that existed somewhere between myth and reality, a place where the digital and the corporeal intertwined in a grotesque dance. It was said to be a digital Necronomicon, a collection of the most forbidden knowledge and darkest secrets. It was an urban legend, a digital ghost story, or so I thought. One sleepless night, driven by a blend of arrogance and intrigue, I found it. The site had no name, only an address that felt like a combination to a lock that should never be opened. My screen flickered as I entered, a silent herald of the madness to come. The site was a digital labyrinth, a maze of hyperlinks that led to secrets best left undiscovered. I wandered aimlessly, my curiosity a beacon calling to the darkness. That's when I found the forum, a gathering place for the site's denizens. They spoke in riddles and cryptic codes, discussing things that seemed to straddle the line between possible and beyond belief. Driven by an impulse I couldn't resist, I introduced myself. A mistake. The conversation ceased instantly, replaced by a singular message that appeared on my screen. You do not belong here. It was followed by a link, a digital invitation I should have declined. The link led to a live feed, a video that captured a scene so macabre, so profoundly disturbing, it seared itself into my memory. A room of shadows, illuminated only by the flickering light of a single candle, revealed a figure shrouded in darkness. Their movements were deliberate, ritualistic, as they completed a tableau that felt as old as time itself. The details are too horrific to recount, a nightmare made manifest. I tried to leave, to disconnect from this digital charnel house, but I was no longer in control. My computer responded to unseen commands, trapping me in this viewing of the damned. When it was over, the screen went black, and a new message appeared. Welcome to the fold. Since that night, I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched, not just through my computer, but from the shadows themselves. My dreams are haunted by echoes of that room, and I wake to find traces of candle wax on my desk, a tangible reminder of the nightmare that has bled into my reality. I've tried to go back, to find the site again, to confront or understand what I saw, but it has vanished, existing now only in the darkest corners of my mind. The people I encountered, the ritual I witnessed, I can't escape the creeping dread that I've become a part of something far greater and more terrifying than I could have ever imagined. In my quest for knowledge, I had sought out the dark web's heart of darkness. What I found was a horror that transcends the digital realm, a horror that now resides within me, whispering secrets in a voice that sounds too much like my own.